Oh, who are we looking at? Whoever's talking?
We're live. Yeah. Just wherever you guys wanna, whoever wants to jump in, I could move the camera. Whoever. Okay, we're live, guys. Dansa. Hello and welcome back to the Seven Generation Podcast. Today's episode is a special one, not just for our listeners, but for our community, our youth, and the future of chuck wagon racing here in Treaty 6 territory. I'm honored to be joined by three members of the executive from the Canadian Professional Chuckwagon Association, an organization that represents some of the best drivers, horses, and crews in the sport. In this conversation, we're going to talk about a few big things, including the July 1st Sports Day horse races here in Onion Lake, the importance of youth engagement in barn tours while CPCA is out on their racing circuit, and the opportunities that come from building strong relationships between communities and professional sport. We'll also touch on broader exposure opportunities, including potential invitations connected to events like the Calgary Stampede. And later in the episode, we'll be sharing a major announcement, one that marks a historic moment for our community. So settle in, and this is about sport, culture, youth empowerment, and what's possible when partnerships are built the right way. With that, we'll get into it. I think for starters, can we have you guys introduce yourselves? Whoever wants to go first. Go ahead.
All right. I'm Colby Stanley. I'm a director with the CPCA. I've been driving there for about 5 years now. Also a band member here in Onion Lake.
Greg DeRocher, CPCA president, Flying Dust band member.
Okay.
Calvin Fiddler, band member from the Water and Lake Association, vice president of the club as well, and one of my 6-year driving.
Thank you. Before we get into the big news later on in this episode, what does chuck wagon racing mean to you?
To me, I'll say that, I mean, it's the way we live, right? It's the way of life. They call it a sport, but when you're into it, it's a year-round thing, and you get to spend time with your family and friends, and doing what you love all summer long. It's a better way to live, I think.
For me, I've been around this sport about 40 years, and it's about keeping the Western heritage alive. You grow up doing, you start as a kid in the barns and graduate to be drivers or outriders. It's a way of life, yeah.
Thank you. Your Fiddler?
Family, camaraderie, socializing. What other sport can I, take my family with me on the summer, raise my children, and it's a good lifestyle for children for sure. Socializing, sponsors and stuff like that. Couldn't do the sport without the sponsors. 100%.
Yeah, the socializing part there after the dust is settled. You can sit on the cold one with your friends.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. How has the CPCA evolved in the last few years?
It's been kind of a roller coaster, I think. When I first started here 6 years ago, it was, we were up to 34, 36 drivers. And, with the economy and everything else going on, there were drivers left and right. And, also the shows, small town shows, a lot of them, they don't have the shows no more. The committees are aging out, and the younger generation, I don't think, is willing to put up the work to put on those shows. So, no, it was, we were a little worried there for a bit, I think, in our numbers wise and whatnot, but we had a strong core group of guys there that I think we did a really good job of keeping things going and keeping improving and trying to build for the future. And that's, I think that's brought us to this point now where we're seeing those numbers up to 30 again, and our stands are full. And like Greg said, you mentioned a good point there. We're keeping the Western Heritage alive. I think that's a big one with a lot of our drivers and members as well. We try to expand the sport as much as we can day in and day out.
Yeah, very great.
I think the sport's evolved much more about safety. Back in the 70s and 80s, it wasn't that we weren't necessarily safe, but we've made a lot of changes to make the sport a lot safer for the drivers, for the horses, and just everybody involved. There's been quite a few changes.
Another question, just an observation that I had. I've been a big fan of the sport my whole life. Like you guys talked about the way it impacts communities and what Colby just touched on. Just an observation from my perspective. It seems to me like this from the outside looking in that more like First Nations are stepping up to be hosts of these kinds of like the circuit, I guess. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, when you look at our club and we're 78% First Nations, it just only makes sense to us to run on reserve and to support, our own people. And we have a fair share of, non-reserve shows as well. But I think for a lot of us, especially, we're comfortable at home, right? When we're up in the reserve here, and it's nice and quiet and it's peaceful, right? So I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, and even just for me again, like as a fan, like to me that's pretty cool to see like a lot of native drivers, native outfits out there. And nothing against the non-natives. And I remember as a kid there was a lot of non-natives, and it seemed like a lot of us natives were watching the sport. We love the sport, we enjoy the show. And just over the years, to me it just seemed like there was more natives kind of getting involved as drivers and stuff. Yeah.
I like to think that goes with our connection to the horse spirit as First Nations people, right? And there's no better way to do it than chuckwagon racing. We're with those horses every day of the year, and we care for them like their family, right?
Mhm.
And it becomes you build relationships with those horses, and it's not only good for your physical health and whatnot, but your mental health. I mean, that's a big part of it for me and why I do this. So I think it's a very positive lifestyle in that way.
Yes, sir.
Good medicine.
Yep, 100%.
I just want to touch on what you mentioned. Like we have drivers, James Smith, Waterhen, Flying Dust, Little Pine, Poundmaker, Coal Lake First Nation, Mooseman, Soto, and obviously Colby here from Onion Lake. And yeah, we're probably 70% First Nation content, Aboriginal content in our sport, in our association.
Awesome. Why is it important for CPCA to engage directly with host communities?
I can kind of touch on it. When we go to these shows, we got a lot of these younger generation, younger children on the reserves or anywhere. We could be racing anywhere for that matter. A lot of these kids, they look up to us. Like you kind of like, I don't know, don't like pumping their tires, but they look up to us kind of like NHL superstars. Like they look up to us. So it's a way of us like giving back. We don't do it at all the communities, but like we want to get there.
Mhm.
Like a lot of the communities we could be like school visits. We'll go for a school visit or pancake breakfast, or a couple communities we do like autograph signing, stuff like that. So I think it's important that way that we give back, or even this, if we give them a handshake or say hi to them or autograph, it really makes their day, because at the end of the day they do look up to us.
Well, I'll add to that as well. CPCA has been part of Onion Lake Aboriginal Addictions Week for a number of years. We participate in a Cowboys and Indians fun hockey game. We can never Um, what was the Flying Cookham there? We had about 8 goals on us last year, but uh, Darian,
Yeah.
it's good. It's good to give back to the community. We, like I said, we love coming here. We do food drives. We've done food drives in the past.
The
Of
Unity Round Dance.
Unity Round Dance, and we're gonna be bringing
Mm,
that Unity Round Dance back this year. So
yeah.
it's good to give back to community engagement for sure.
Yeah. Deadly. So I just had an idea listening to you guys talk. I don't know if this has ever been done before. But anyway, would there be, if Onion Lake were to host like a foot race from the drivers, would you think drivers would
100%.
participate in that?
Like that's what I think a lot of committees don't. They're not reaching out for those kinds of things. Where we're open to, I mean, almost anything, and that's where we're willing to give back and do those things to wherever, whatever it is. If it's a foot race or if it's out visiting or if it's donating, we're willing to do whatever it takes to do our part.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, I think another thing too is like the barn tours, but we'll come back to all of this. We'll come back to the barn tours and the community engagement. Another question I had just in regard to Onion Lake's July 1st sports days, our annual event that we host here with the CPCA. What excites you about being a part of Onion Lake's July 1st sports day races?
I go first. Well, obviously it's my hometown show, right? I mean, the most exciting thing for me is just coming home and being able to see all the friends and family. That's the big thing, right? I don't get home as much as I'd like to, but that's a good reason for me to be here for a week or two and just catch up with everybody. But not only that, we have the beautiful facility here in Onion Lake. Like it's state of the art. I mean, people don't appreciate it, I think, the way that they should around here. And I mean, like our plan is to use it as much as we can, right? So, I mean, they put on a show like no other. There's entertainment right from when you wake up in the morning and have your pancake breakfast till you're, trying to sleep at night, and there's still tunes playing in the background. There's always something going on here, and I think that's the best part, right? And it's just bringing everyone out in the community, bringing them out together to have a good week of fun there.
100%.
So when we're scheduling our CPCA races every year, sometimes we have to juggle one community to the next. Let's say June 1st is Meadow Lake or whatever, but we've always maintained that July weekend for Onion Lake. This is their annual event. We've been here. I don't know how many years this event has run in the community.
Since the new track's been here.
But we've never touched that weekend is what I'm getting at. We've always saved that weekend for Onion Lake. It's pretty special to us to race in the community here during the Canada Day event.
I think not only that, Onion Lake's really easy to deal with. I mean, you can go to some committees and they'll give you a tough time, but not, and they're reading the fine print, they're doing their thing. But Onion Lake is really easy going and easy to deal with, and I think that's a big part of the CPCA having having the big show here is the communication as well.
Yes, sir.
And it's same time, just add to the thing here. It's well supported. We come here, run here for when I first started. I remember we used to come run here for 5 days. We're down to 4 days, but like we still like coming. Like I'm later in the season, I'm kind of made a TikTok video, and it shows in like that drone coverage. Like there's cars parked right from the second corner all the way around to the home stretch, and then the stands are packed as well, eh? So it's good to see all the people coming out and watch, and
good support for us, I think. Here,
well attended event.
Yeah.
Well attended.
I think the drivers and the horses too probably feed off of that energy.
For sure. I mean, you can go to some shows, and I mean, even as a driver, you're not getting too excited when the stands ain't packed, right? But when you're at a big track like this in a nice facility and there is people out there, I mean, it does get you going for sure.
Yeah. So one thing that I heard, and I don't know if this is true, and but anyway, just in terms of like track quality compared to Calgary, is that something you guys think is like same level or same neighborhood kind of thing?
I mean, it's pretty hard to compare to Calgary, right? Calgary's the best of the best, right? And they do, and they have all everything they need there to make sure that their tracks is the best in the facility, right? So with Onion Lake, I think with what we have to work with here and what we've done with the place, I mean, you can compare it to there in terms of being on the reserve and being up here, right? It's,
Yeah,
I mean, we have a state of the art track, like I said, and the ground itself. I mean, we've never been rained out here. You know, our track is built for that weather, where a lot of places will go and will get rained out, and when we're getting rained out, we're not getting paid, we're not getting points, and it kind of screws with our whole season. Whereas Onion Lake, they built their track for that, and that's really big for us.
yes, sir. Um, Calvin, you
Well,
want to
I'm good.
add to
No,
that? No, good.
Track, just to reiterate what Colby said, track quality here. You could talk to any one of the drivers in our association, not one of them have an issue with the track in Onion.
Awesome. So going back to the youth engagement and the barn tours, I know this is something very important for the CPCA. Why is youth engagement important to the Canadian or the CPCA? Sorry.
I think it promotes a positive lifestyle. I mean, and that's what we promote ourselves. Like Calvin said, these kids are looking up to us a little bit, and it's important for us to be good role models. And that's day in day out. It's not only during the race season, and it's not only at the racetrack. It's what you're doing outside of there, and it's how you're carrying yourself as well, right? So and we're trying to show them that myself personally, I've this has kind of been a dream to me, and it's just it's one of those things for me where it's anything's possible. Giving those kids a hope, and that there's anything to do out there, anything they want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to add to that. Yeah, like just as a fan of the sport or someone from the outside looking in, like yeah, like I think that impact that you talked about, Colby, I think is something that we can see here in the community with our own kids. And when you came onto the circuit as a driver in your first year, I think the impact in our community, we all felt that, and it kind of united us. And wanted to cheer for you and hope, like, wish you well out there. I think this for me, from my perspective, being able to see that, especially with our kids, I think that's something that's really cool. And then same thing with Calvin, same thing. Like, like I know we were talking before, we kind of grew up together playing hockey against each other, and then seeing you come onto the track with your team, especially I think like being First Nation, for the First Nation kids, I think that's something that's really cool to see like Native boys doing it.
Well, and I can just speak for myself and Calvin. There is that negative lifestyle that is a very big possibility living on the reserve, right? And we all know that. And me and Calvin have been through that, right? And I think Chuckwagon racing for ourselves has brought us into a much more positive lifestyle, and it's keeping us busy and it's keeping us on the right path. So I think that's, I mean, I think Calvin feels the same way, but for sure myself, I mean, this has been a life changer for me, and being able to do this, I mean, I just appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. You want to add to that?
For the youth, when they come around on the barn tours, if they come there at 6:30 in the morning, when the boys are turning out the horses, or mucking stalls, or putting out feed pails, or emptying feed pails rather, it shows them the discipline and the work ethic and the respect for the horses that each one of our drivers give to their animals. So it's a real eye-opener. It's not just harness up a horse and race it. There's a lot more behind the scenes.
Yeah. Question for you, Kelvin. Just tying into what Craig was touching on there. Can you explain the idea of barn tours while on the CPCA circuit?
yeah, I actually did one in Beardy's last year. Group of James Smith youth come there. So I don't know. It takes anywhere from hour and a half to 2 hours, however long you can keep them busy for. So like you got to remember when these youth come to your barn. Lots of times it's most of the time it's their first time seeing a thoroughbred horse. So it's kind of an eye opener for them. Looking at a big 1,200-pound racehorse. So you just introduce yourself, show them around your barn, your liner, get them involved with the chores and stuff like that. Wash some horses, and like you just do that kind of stuff for about an hour and a half. But at when you're done the barn tour, you feel good about yourself because children, they're enjoying themselves and smiling and stuff like that. And yeah, at the end of the day, like you're just making a positive day for them, eh?
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of these First Nations children look up to us.
Yeah. Awesome. I think another thing too, like you said, like thoroughbred horses. I think a lot of like it's kind of rare for us on the reserve to see that. Not for everybody, but I think for a lot of us, like we don't get that opportunity to grow up around the horses like that, especially thoroughbred horses. I think one of the cool things is like introducing the kids to that, like you guys said, because that's what you guys work with, right? And I guess showing them that they're not these big, wild, scary animals, right? So I think that could be part of it.
I think Onion Lake has one. The community of Onion Lake has the most horses I've actually ever seen on a First Nation. Like just about every home you drive by, there's horses in the corrals there.
They're all Colby's horses.
Yeah, and kids are they're riding around the track during the events or after the events, or it's pretty busy. It's nice to see. Most kids are playing PS5 or Xbox at home. Well, kids from Onion Lake are riding bareback in the back trails.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Question for Craig. What can kids and youth learn from being around the horses, the drivers, and the crews?
So again, like what I touched on earlier, like if you're there at 7 o'clock in the morning, you see work ethic, respect for the animals, discipline. There's kids 6, 8 years old helping their dads, turn out horses in the morning, or wrap horses before races. It's a community event, and the kids are once they're old enough, they're all involved. Like Stetson's probably a huge part of Colby's barn. As Calvin's got younger children, but when they get of age, they'll be right in there too.
Yeah. You want to add to that, Colby?
Oh no, I was half asleep there.
I could ask again. Just a different perspective. Same question. What can kids and youth learn from being around the horses, the drivers, and the crews?
Yeah, I think like Craig touched on it pretty good there, but like, and a lot of it is just responsibility, right? I know Stetson, he knows that chores are pretty important, so he'll get that done before his bedroom, right? But I mean, I think that'll carry him a long ways in life. But and when I do things like this, like I have in the past, I carry him with me, and he'll join me on these things, and that's another part of racing, that the professionalism that I tried to teach him as well. So there's a lot of aspects there, I think, that he can carry on with him.
Right on. Thank you. Okay, we'll switch it up here a little bit. We'll touch on the Calgary Stampede invitation and exposure. There's been discussion about potential invitations to the Calgary Stampede from the CPCA circuit. Why is that significant?
So in the past, Calgary was you had to earn your way there. They'd take the top drivers from the world professional and top drivers from the Canadian professional, and it was kind of a even split. And they'd invite a few, what's the word I'm looking for? Independent drivers. the game has changed a little bit for Calgary. They've gone to an invitation system, and many factors on how they determine who gets to go. And we talked about it earlier. Professionalism is one. Your the quality of driver, your quality of your horses, the cleanliness of your barns. There's so many factors. I mean, if you're a safe driver, they take all that into consideration.
Right on. Yeah, that's kind of what I was kind of getting at, like how do people get invited there? And I think you touched on it pretty good there. Like it's not just the race itself and the standings and the points. It's like all around, right? Representation from your barn and all of that, how you represent the CPCA and like all of that stuff. That's pretty cool. Um, for drivers that haven't been to the CPCA yet, can you explain, Calvin, maybe what type of feelings or thoughts go into that? Like, I think kind of like making it to the NHL, right? Dreaming about getting there is would you say that's something similar, like for drivers who haven't been there yet?
Well, like, are you asking new drivers to CPCA or to Calgary?
To Calgary.
Oh, Calgary, yeah, yeah. Well, for myself, I can speak for myself. Yeah, one day if I want to race at the Calgary Stampede Day, so I think I set goals for myself, like, and to be honest, like, I think to be considered for the CPCA, I think you got to finish within, the top 5, top 6, and there's a bunch of other factors, like, how you present yourself, like professionalism, um, cleanliness, like clean barn, performance, safety, safe driver, because at the end of the day, like Calgary has eyes. They're always, watching you.
Yeah.
And if they're not watching you, they like the trucking world is a small world, so
Yeah.
they'll hear about it. Like, so yeah, like that kind of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Calgary is to make it to Calgary. It's every driver's Super Bowl, every driver's Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
That's what you got your sights set on, and everybody wants to race at the big stage at some point in their life, and once you're there, hopefully you stay there.
Yeah. Awesome. Question for Colby. I think Colby's actually got a taste of that. What was that experience like? Like getting the call one day, like, hey, we'd like you to come represent over here, and then being a part of it, rolling your team out onto the track for the first heat. What was that whole experience like?
It's been crazy, man. Like and I've had such a short career. I never planned on getting there so quick. So I mean, just to get there in the first place was I mean, I can't even explain the feeling, right? I still remember it all. Like I got the call, and your stomach drops, and you're full of butterflies and all that good stuff. But no, I'm a very confident guy in myself, and I think I planned on being there. It was always in my plans, right? It's just it happened so quick, and it kind of hit me too fast. I couldn't really prepare for it, so I kind of just went with the flow, and getting there, it's such an eye-opening experience because I've never been there myself. I've only ever seen it on TV, right? So it was such an eye-opening experience. But I met so many great people there, and if I never make it back there again, I can say I made it there, even just as a demo driver. It was being part of the show. It's just crazy, man. Like he said, it's the Super Bowl, it's the Stanley Cup, and even though I wasn't competing, just to experience it firsthand was there's no better feeling. It's kind of that, yeah, we made it, and now, like Craig said, it's over, and like I said, if I never go back there, I can say I made it. But I mean, it's in my plans to get right back. That's what you're thinking about every day when you're working towards this. Is you want to be the best, and you want to race against the best of the best, and that's where you do it. So I do plan on being there.
Yes, sir. It's awesome. Um, but yeah, CPCA, Calgary Stampede, like the opportunity is there for everybody, right? And it starts right from the beginning, and then how you carry yourself all the way through, and the cleanliness of your runs, the penalties, and the times, and all of that. But more than that, but I think that's one of the best things about it is that anybody has a chance to get there from the CPCA or the WPCA,
But
right?
yeah, like Calvin said, you just never know who's watching, right? And that's where I was. Me and my wife talked about it too because every truck wagon driver probably has that conversation of how do we get to Calgary because it is that invitation only, right? And I kind of turned and looked at her and told her like we just got to be ourselves. If they like us, they like us, and if they don't, right? Because that's basically what it comes down to. So when you're carrying yourself, you just do your best in that way, and you hopefully get that invite because there's no other way. You just run your best and you try to be the best representation of chuck wagon racing. I think is the way I look at it.
Mhm. Awesome. Um, so going back to the barn tours, I know it's like something I think we want to build into our program with the whole July 1st races here in Onion Lake. Denise Wasquith, she's our community events coordinator, and I know she's on the committee, and I think those are some of the discussions we've been having is like how can we um like involve the committee more with the CPCA and vice versa. And I know we were kind of brainstorming some ideas, and you guys said like the breakfast and
Well, I can just
yeah.
I've been kind of working on that a little bit myself. Being from Onion Lake, I have that connection to everybody out this way. So we do plan on this year. It worked out good. We'll be racing here in Onion Lake while the kids are still at school. So we'll be, jumping in every school there and visiting with the kids.
Nice.
Showing what we do, and I think promoting the healthy lifestyle, like I said, the staying away from the drugs and alcohol, and leading a good path. I think that's one thing we're gonna go out and share. But not only that, we're gonna get out to the grocery store here, baking groceries, and we'll get out to the gas stations, pumping gas, and I have a whole bunch of plans. I want to get the elders involved. Sorry, I want to get the elders involved as well. I've been talking to a few people here, and whether it's going out to visit them or them coming to visit us, right? And like you said, the barn tours. I haven't really talked to anybody about that yet, but if we can get as much people as we can out to the barns, we have more than myself that's willing to give that time to the community, right?
Yeah.
And the outriders, I mean, that's a good lifestyle for them boys. They come up the road just in their campers, and all they do is jump on horses. So it's pretty easy to get them out into the community and doing some work for that.
Right on. Just so you guys know, and just for the viewers out there, just a reminder, the guys that are in here, Craig, Calvin, and Colby, these guys are the executive branch of the CPCA. And I think you guys rotate or take turns with those positions. But just so you guys know, Denise Wasquith, she's our community events coordinator for Onion Lake. So if you guys have ideas like what you're talking about, Colby, just know that we can plan this type of stuff throughout the year. It doesn't just have to be the July 1st time frame. So if you guys have ideas like that, reach out to me or Denise. I can connect you with Denise, and we can help set this type of stuff up, like get you guys into schools and stuff like that, or whatever ideas you guys have. I know you guys are big on community involvement and community engagement. Here in Onion Lake, we're big on that too. So we're always open to that. We're always looking for ideas. So if you guys ever have ideas along the way, feel free to reach out, and we'll do what we can to help make that stuff
and vice
happen.
versa. I mean, we're more than open to doing whatever you guys need us to do as well, right? So I think it works both ways.
Yeah.
If any ideas come your way, just send them our way, and we'll work something out.
I just have one request. I just don't want to see the Flying Kokum at the hockey game next winter.
I think that one's around for the next 100 years.
Yeah.
Hey, she's good, eh?
But as far as what you just briefly chatted about was the community involvement. You know, we want to sit down and have that daily production meeting with the Indian relay judge or starter or the chuck wagon team and all the committees or all the people involved. We need to sit down, and that communication is so important so everything runs smoothly.
Yeah. Cool. Right on. That's good to know. So every morning we'll try to touch base with the different heads of the different
Bring them all together for a
like
coffee.
rodeo or whatever. Yeah. And just make sure we're on the same page and stuff. Cool. We'll do that. I like that. So I think there's one more thing here. Before we get to that, I just want to ask. So before we get to the CPCA finals, is there anything else you guys would like to touch on or expand on that we touched on so far before we get into that?
I guess just for the average CPCA fan, like we'll say anyone from Onion Lake, say if they come watch us for the Canada Day weekend, like, and they want to come out and check out our barns and our horses, like, don't be shy. Come back and say hi. We're all approachable people. We don't bite.
Yeah.
We're nice people, and we're more than willing to even give you a small barn tour, show you our horses. Like, don't be shy. Come back and say hi.
Yeah.
Grab a pitchfork.
Free labor. If you want to do your fine option hours, come see these guys. But on that note, what Calvin said, like, even if it's other communities like Little Pine or wherever, right? Like, don't be afraid to come visit and say hello and hang out. Grab a pitchfork.
It's crazy. Like, you meet some lifelong friends down the road that you wouldn't have met, but that situation there, I've had many people walking by my barn and they stop in and say hi. And, I've known them for 5-6 years now, and we're talking throughout the year, so it's pretty cool. You build those relationships through that.
It was funny. I was at Colby's barn last summer in Beardy, or Batoche rather, and one of the kids I coached Colby in hockey when he was a kid, and another kid that I coached was mucking stalls for Colby that weekend, so it was pretty cool. Shout out to Brett.
Free child labor.
Yeah, free labor. Hey, bro.
Okay. Okay. So I think we'll switch gears here a little bit. This next part is huge, and we're proud to share it here first. The Onion Lake Cree Nation. Does someone want to introduce that? Craig?
The finals. Yeah. So we're just actually in the community here last week, and we did a pretty significant signing for our association. We've signed Onion Lake to a 3-year deal, and they're going to be the hosts of our CPCA finals, and we love it. We love it. It's a great chuck wagon community, and like I said, everybody owns a horse in this community. It's a pony driver or a relay or big chuck wagon. So yeah, we're pretty stoked to be with Onion Lake for the next 3 years.
Right on. So there you have it, folks. Like the guy said here, CPCA finals. Usually it's in Lloydminster. This year and the next 3 years, I think the location is changing. There's an agreement that was signed. So Onion Lake will be the host community for the next 3 years when it comes to the CPCA finals. I have a question. Why was Onion Lake chosen?
I mean, it's a no-brainer when you look at the facility, and like I've touched on earlier, we've had a lot of trouble in the past with weather and whatnot. And Lloydminster, I mean, it wasn't a bad place to run either. They had a great track there as well. But when you're looking at the next location, I think the next best location we got is Onion Lake here. And having Lloydminster there as the hub of the finals, it's not too far down the road here as well. So I think that it kind of holds home here as well. It's not too far, like I said, and Onion Lake's a chuck wagon town, like Craig said as well. We have good support here, and I think it was talked about in the past as well about bringing the finals here. It was kind of a a goal for them to eventually have it here one day. And when the opportunity came, they jumped on it, and we couldn't be more happier.
Awesome.
Yeah, but back in the day, I think Big VJ Carey was still negotiating shows and scheduling. A few years back, Onion Lake had approached the association back then, and it just wasn't in the cards. They already had their finals location contract signed for. So yeah, now that the opportunity is here for Onion Lake, Colby said they've taken the opportunity and they're going to run with it. So we're grateful.
Right on. Calvin, question for you. What does a 3-year agreement say about trust and partnership?
It means a lot, like Onion Lake approached us about the finals, and we discussed 3-year contract, and there was no problems with it. So like it means a lot when they want us here, and we want to come here. Like Colby mentioned, it's our one of our better facilities on tour. Like he said, we've never had a rain out here. I've been racing here 5-6 years, and we've never rained out here ever. And they probably haven't for a while. So yeah, facility, very nice facility, nice track. So that at the end of the day, that does go a long ways.
I think it's pretty exciting to know that we had that big crowd here during the July 1st weekend, right? We've always had that good crowd here, but we've also had that really good crowd in Lloydminster, where I think that fan base is still there, and they will visit our community and make that fan base even bigger. So I think that's really big here too.
Right on.
Our committee was actually, took them seconds to say absolutely. Onion Lake, absolutely. So nobody was against the idea of moving the finals to Onion Lake. So and a shout out to our executive and our other directors. They love it here. Everybody loves it here. So we're happy to be here.
Right on. What does it mean to be able to bring a show like this, especially the finals, to the community and to the people of Onion Lake?
Well, I think Onion Lake is a really proud community, right? And having a big show like that, and seeing our leadership here and how the excitement they had to host a big event like this, and to put ourselves out on the map. And not only that, but to showcase our facility and everything else, right? I think it's great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
good progressive leadership on council. I think once we presented the contract last week, we had it back very quickly. It was unanimous with them. With the
20 minutes later,
with the council, yeah, they want to host this event, and it's the first time a finals has been hosted on reserve. So
I think Lloydminster's had it since the 90s, right?
Yeah, we've been in Lloydminster
35 years or something.
Yeah, 4,015 years, I think.
It's a pretty big deal.
It's a big deal, and yeah, we're looking forward to working with the community for sure.
Nice, awesome. So where's the counselor, this guy? So next question. I'm out of questions, like as far as what I had drafted up. So I don't have any questions, but if you guys want to just open it up and touch on different things, it's up to you guys. But I did have a question for Colby, or maybe you guys, just from your perspective, just the way everything played out at the CPCA finals last year. How did that all look for you guys? What did that mean to the association? What did it mean to First Nations people and non-First Nations people? What did it mean to the youth?
For me, it was probably one of the biggest moments of my life, right? I won the big dash there in Lloydminster. But shout out to Calvin, he brought up the new system we run with the top 6, right? So we used to run the top 4 in the CPCA at the year-end standings, ran for that dash. Whereas this year, we were a little bit concerned about our numbers. We went down to 3 wagons. Not in the sense of just the worry, but it also made it for a better show, because now we had those top 10 guys battling for that top 6 spot. and not just the top 5 or 6 guys battling for that 4th spot. So I managed to sneak in there on the last day of racing in the 6th position with half a point, which got me into the final 6. And that's where I ended up into the top 3 after semifinal Saturday into the Dash for Cash Sunday, where I was successful. So I mean, it's a time of my life where I'll never forget, and I feel like it's kind of it's a groundbreaking moment for me into my racing career, because I feel like from here it's only gonna get better.
Yeah.
And it was a dogfight all year, points wise. I mean, for Colby to sneak in by half a point, and the last racing day before the finals, or before that final dash day, and one penalty second could have knocked you way out. It was that tight of a race all year for majority of our top 15 guys, probably.
Yeah.
So with this new system, like semifinal Saturday, or if you finish the top 6, like you got a chance at winning the CPCA championship. Like at the end of the day, it keeps those top 10, top 12 drivers engaged to like something to strive for, eh? And like full kudos to Colby. He finished 6th and he ended up winning the CPCA championship. And like all year, me and Colby were kind of neck and neck. And going into the finals, I was actually only 10 points behind Colby. And like Colby had a really good finals, and I didn't have a good finals. So, but like I said, it keeps those top 10 to 12 drivers engaged, something to strive for to try to get into that top 6, eh?
And I think that, like I said, kudos to Calvin, because I think that brought a lot more excitement to our association for sure, especially coming into that final show.
Yeah, lots of great drivers. Like, it could have went any way in those last couple of days. Like Robbie, Brad,
and
anybody, Colby, Calvin, everybody was so tight points wise. It just
Colby. We're okay now too. We're at numbers wise. We probably could run 4 wagons, but we're at we had such a fun year last year with that system that we are sticking to the 3 wagon system, and we want to run that system in Onion Lake here. So you will see at the finals here in Onion Lake the semifinal Saturday and the championship dash on Sunday.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're still on.
Oh, it's still on?
Yeah.
Oh, I lost you there for a second. Anyway, what I was going to say was, what was I going to say?
Sorry, Craig.
I got stumped. The system we have is a good system, and it gives, Calvin said it, anybody, the top 7, 8 guys are all right there. They still have a chance. And, one penalty second could knock you out, or even the horse is just running a little bit slower, a step behind, it could knock you out. So you really got to be on your game.
Keeps the fire burning strong right to the end.
Oh,
eh?
yeah.
Oh yeah. We're competitive. We like that kind of stuff, eh?
But it's a good community. We're not, there's no fighting. It's we had a new driver join us last year, Dale Young, and he's a great guy, great family, and a good competitor. He had a couple really good race days, and he grabbed some good checks during the season last year. And he said, what a great association to be part of. Everybody's there to help you.
Yeah.
They're not trying to trip you up.
And
So
that's
it's
where,
nice.
like last year when this all went down, when I ended up winning, Calvin, Brad, those guys, Rob, those guys I was racing, those were the first guys to come and congratulate me, because we have that brotherhood between us drivers, I believe. And not only that, but it goes down to our barn crews where we're all just one big family. And I think we do get a lot of compliments in the CPCA for that, because we are such a friendly association and we're so welcoming. Our doors are always open and there is no drama. You know what I mean? It's we got such a good group of guys right now, and I think I'm pretty excited for the future.
Mm-hmm. One last thing, just on the finals, just for clarity, was there WPCA guys involved with the finals in Lloyd yesterday?
Yeah, last year we had a couple drivers, and Lloyd X, Jackie approached us. How do we make our show a little bit better for the spectators? Let's open the door to our sister association, the World Fellas, and put that invitation out there and see who wants to participate. And we open the door for them, and a couple of the boys come down, and guys like Kurt, who are just down the road here in Dewberry, said he's never raced in Lloydminster. He's always raced in the other venues, but never here at home. It'd be considered a hometown show other than Dewberry. But it's nice to have those guys, and it gives our drivers a chance to look at Kurt's horses or buy Kurt's horses, or you know what I mean. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Cool. Right on. Awesome. Sounds like a really good time. And I think the best part about it is Onion Lake gets to host the next one and the next couple after that. So I think the people in our community get to enjoy the front row seats to all of this and be a part of the action with you guys. Like you said, your doors are always open, so our community can come and visit, come have a coffee with you guys and visit. So another question I had, and again, I don't have questions here anymore. I'm out of questions, but is there any memories or any kind of moments that stick out throughout the tour last year for you, just regarding the whole CPCA? What type of any funny moments or anything like that?
There's plenty of funny moments.
I mean, there's stories on stories, right? Everybody has their own stories, and you could write a book every summer about what's going on. But for myself personally, and I'm not just talking for myself, but winning in Lloydminster. But for myself, it was so nice to see the amount of people that were there. We had a full grandstand. We had people standing all around the infield. The parking lot was packed. And not only that, after the races, we had so many visitors in the back within the camps. But it's nice to see, like we said before, we're trying to keep the Western heritage alive. And it's nice to see that it's still there and people are still interested and people are still following, right? So I think that was big on me last year, is seeing those big crowds and, seeing that it's still alive and well.
Yeah. I took a photograph on my cell phone of the grandstand, and amazing to see, comparable to Lloyd X, Halstead Downs, their grandstand's always full when we're there. Onion Lake, great community, great chuck wagon community. So it was a great picture, and I got it pinned up at home actually.
And it's like when we're saying those stands are full in Lloydminster, and like we said, we have a big First Nations following, and that was really nice to see as well. All the First Nations people that were out supporting us, and I can say for myself, I seen a lot of Onion Lake there. And I think that's going to just transfer into the Onion Lake finals, and we'll have a nice big crowd there as well. I think it's going to be well supported.
Kind of like a big piece of dry meat with salt.
What about you, Calvin? What was your moment? What do you remember?
I had a pretty special moment last year. I qualified for my first Dash for Cash in Beardies. So I guess the last couple of years, the last 2-3 years, I've been getting a lot more competitive than a lot. So the last couple of years been kind of knocking on the door to qualifying for a championship Dash for Cash at a show there. So
barn depth.
Yeah. So I remember as Beardies, I was going into the last qualifying day. I was short of horsepower at that time. Like I had a couple injured horses. So me and Colby parked beside each other at Beardies there and got talking, said, Colby, I need a left wheeler, and he lent me your horse there. What's his name again? Harbor. He's an older horse, 13, 14 years old, but
gets the job done.
Yeah, he's a night, like as soon as that horn goes, he fires. And so the last qualifying day, had a good run with that horse, finished in the top 5, and ended up getting into the Dash for Cash for that show. And it was a pretty special moment. Like, I don't know.
Do you remember the Dash for Cash?
Oh, I do, yeah. But Colby's been in Dash for Cat. Like it's a good feeling once you qualify. It's like
I remember that day. Like I remember me and Calvin having that moment because seeing his excitement making that dash and coming to thank me for that horse, that I can touch that. Like that was a special moment between us because me and Calvin started the same time, right? When we've been going through this journey together. We've been through all the ups and downs together, and we're constantly talking to each other about our own barns and each other's barns and trying to help each other out, right? So I think, I mean, all our special moments and all our bad times, we're experiencing them together, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of weird because like I felt like a baby because like when I qualified, I was kind of so happy. Started happy tears, started crying.
Yeah.
Kind of crying there in front of my family. Family's in the barn there. And I know I haven't really felt that like cried happy tears. It was pretty special for sure. And like I said, when I qualified, I went straight to Colby and thanked him for lending me that horse to help me get into that dash.
That actually that camaraderie that Colby talked about earlier, like that necessarily won't happen in the World Professional Association. I mean, they're
and we're not taking jabs at them.
No, we're not taking jabs at them, of course not. But I mean, it's a little bit more friendly atmosphere here.
Yeah.
Help a brother out.
Yeah.
It's just so much more competitive there, right? And it's you're not going to help the guy that's competing against you, but over here, man, like I want to see my buddy succeed.
Yeah.
You don't want to see nobody fail.
Yeah. So, and if he has a chance to get there, you're going to do that. So that's awesome. I like our community within the CPCA. We have a really good, strong family hold, I think, there.
Mm-hmm. Question for Craig. You made a comment to Calvin about the dash for cash. He said, "Do you remember that?"
Yeah, it was a blur. It's probably a blur. Like
what do you?
He might have been a bit nervous. I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Good thing they got videos nowadays. He can watch it over again.
Awesome.
That's nothing, man. I hit a barrel in my first dash, and the race was over before it started. Like it's one of those things. I know that feeling, and that good feeling lasts for a while, and then when the dash doesn't go your way, you're still happy to be there, but you're just planning for the next one.
It was a pretty good Facebook question up there. What is a major role that a sponsor does for the team? I mean, these guys fully understand how much that sponsorship goes.
I mean, that's the only way we can do it. It just plain and simple, right? It's a sponsor-driven sport, Unless you're well off and you're wealthy, there's no way possible that you would be able to do this sport. So we rely on those sponsorships, right? And it's not them just giving us money to do what we love, but we create those relationships with these people that want to support our goals and dreams, right? Because I fill my sponsors in on what I want to do and what I want to accomplish, and they see that the drive I have for that. And like we said, with the relationships and stuff, I've had sponsors that have been with me since day one, and I consider them family now, right home here, McHale Mall, Dorothy Whitstone, All Nations, Cora Patagan, we've become family over time. And, it's so nice too, knowing that they're going to be there for next year, because that is a big part of our job, is going out and finding these sponsorships. It's not only 3 months of the year we're racing. Every other month you're not racing, you're out there, you're making calls, you're going to visit people, you're sitting with people, and you're just trying to you're selling yourself, right? For advertisement is what we're doing. And I've had a lot of successful businesses that come through and sponsor me that triple their money, the return, through the advertisement of my chuck wagon. And not only through the chuck wagon, but nowadays, we do the social media and stuff, and that's where a lot of the advertisement comes from. So the advertisement is there, and it's big for them. But not only that, it's I think the big thing is the relationships wise. You become family and friends with these people for lifelong, and I think that's the most important part to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just reading Bucky's question up there.
Hey, Bucky, how's it going?
So, I want to touch on that a little bit more, the sponsorship question or the concept of that. I was actually gonna ask, how can people sponsor, or like, can anybody sponsor? How do they do that?
Anybody can sponsor. I mean, like I said, I've had small businesses, guys that have their own personal business, skid steer services, concrete services, and that. I've also had major businesses that have sponsored me throughout. And it's you go back to that NASCAR sort of thing where they're they just want to see their name on the wagon, right?
Yeah.
And then you have them sponsors that I've had family sponsors as well. So this year, actually, I'm in talks with my Patagon family from here in Onion Lake, and they want to do a Patagon family sponsor, which is so awesome because when they sponsor me at that show, we plan on having sort of a reunion, getting everyone together, and we haven't done that in a long time. So not only are they getting their name on my wagon, but we're getting together as a family, and they get to see what I do, and I get to see them, and we don't get together too often. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I think another part of it too is like advertising for them. But
Yeah,
what you
no,
mentioned
100%.
that,
Like I
right?
said, like the small businesses I've had, I've had concrete businesses, I've had skid steers, all those small businesses that do come on board and they sponsor me for a weekend. And these people out on the radio or the social media or at the show see that, and they get in contact with them, and then they get their work out of them, right? And they make their money back and some. So it's really cool, and it's a really good opportunity for them to expand their workplace.
Yeah.
I can't see
Calvin,
that.
Calvin, you want to add anything to the sponsorship
Oh yeah,
idea?
Colby touched on a lot of it, but yeah, at the end of the day, so we're not sugarcoating nothing, but like me and Colby aren't wealthy people, so we couldn't get up and down the road without sponsors. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're just embracing them, accept them part of your family, and it's just represent their company well, and they'll.
And there is opportunities available. Let's say even our outriders. Some of the outriders carry their sponsors.
The sponsorship,
Logan Pethick, he has his, and Wyatt has his sponsors, and they just help the guys get down the road to the next show.
yeah, and like I said, there's so many different things you can do in sponsorship. I had the Machawis, sorry. Randy Machawis, shout out Randy out of Coal Lake. He sponsored my Outriders last year, and that some little sum of money that he sponsored me actually took me so much further down the road than he even realized. But it's all appreciated so much, and every dollar that we can get it takes us a lot further than they understand.
Awesome. Bucky had a couple of good questions here. I want to put on the table. Colby and Calvin, who was a big part of your journey in racing wagons, or to make you wanna get into being a chuck wagon driver for CPCA, or just a thoroughbred chuck wagon driver? Who was a big part of that for you guys in your journey early on?
For myself, I grew up in the sport, around the sport anyway, not in the sport, but I was always around it. So it was always a dream of mine. And I never expected one bit to ever be where I am now. But, losing my uncle back in 2020, it was, we were kind of at a sitting point and we didn't know what to do with that, me and my cousin. So that's where I took over, right? I took over the reins for my uncle, and we just didn't look back. But, yeah, no, it's been the biggest inspiration for me, I can say, is my wife, because my wife was racing chariots and chuck wagons before I was. I was her barn boy. I was doing the chores. I was walking the horses. I was doing all that work. She was the driver. So and when we started our family and started having kids, we kind of switched roles there, and that's where I took over. But she's been the biggest inspiration for me, and not only that, but she's the reason that I keep going every day, because I've constantly talked about giving up. It's so easy to give up, and I've that's the thing. People don't see that we like Calvin said, we're not wealthy, we're not well off, but we do what we can to make sure the bills are paid at home and we have our needs, but also the horses are taken care of, right? So it is a struggle for us personally throughout the winter and throughout the non-race season to get by. And my wife's been my backbone and keeping the operation alive. So huge shout out to her.
Awesome. Calvin?
For me, I think it just started out like just a young kid, just a big fan of chuck wagon racing. Like, we used to have the big stampede in Meadow Lake, the Meadow Lake
Yep.
Stampede. Like, I used to go watch wagons as a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid. Like, I remember going to the grounds and watching the rodeo all afternoon. As soon as the rodeo was done, the chariot to start, then the pony wagons, and then the big show would come up, like the big wagons. So like that's where it kind of started from me. And the big wagon, like the drivers back then, like I looked up to them. Like I thought they're like NHL superstars, because so they'd race in Meadow Lake end of June, and then they'd go to Calgary, like half the association or 15, 16 CPCA drivers back then. So then, you're watching them on, they used to have them on TSN back in the day, like the big wagons in Calgary. So like that's where it started, And then would have been about 2010, the Mitswings, Ray Mitswing and Devin Mitswing, both that was Devin's rookie year in Calgary. So they needed twice the barn hands, and I had the opportunity to go to Calgary and help out the Mitswings back then. So yeah, I worked for the Mitswings for 3 years, 2010 to 2012. And then my buddy Quade Tournier gave me a call, asked me if I wanted to come help their family in the world circuit, lightning Luke Tournier there. So I worked for Luke for about 7 years. It's learned lots from, even Ray Mitswing, Luke Tournier. Those are both champion chuck wagon drivers. So this being around them on a day-to-day basis, you're gonna pick up stuff how. And then 2020, DJ King kind of got me going in that. We had that fun run tour that year, so I started driving then. Like it was kind of funny. I think I was just coming home from work in Alberta, and the boys were hooking horses in Bear Creek there. Like that's when Lake Kirby was there too. I think they had a pile of horses, like 8 or 9 outfits they were hooking that day, and I got there halfway through, like whatever, 5th, 6th hook, helping hook horses. And then we hooked up that last outfit. It was like the 9th outfit, and DJ kind of caught me off guard. He said, jump in and grab the lines. You're driving this out. I barely drove 2 horses before, but I just, whatever, just kind of a natural, got it done. But like, well, I assistant drove for Luke for 7 years. So kind of just, watched how he drove, and just, I don't know, just drove the horses to the track and got her done. And after that first hook, I was hooked. Like there's no turning back. And, here we are like 6, 7 years later.
Yeah. For me, I'm a wee bit older than these guys. So, guys names Buddy Bensmiller, Herman Flad, those are the big guns back in the day. Brian Labacane, Leonard Ross. And but for me, probably my dad's good friend Ray Mitswing, chief of Makwasagagan back in the day, 7-time Canadian champion. Pretty special guy to me.
Awesome. Okay, guys. I don't have any more questions. Is there anything else that kind of popped up along the way that we might have missed? We're good. We're all good.
All good.
Okay. Okay. Just for the viewers out there, thanks for tuning in and watching this. Thanks for these guys for being here and coming to do this. Again, just a reminder, July 1st, in that area, Onion Lake, sports days, and first ever CPCA finals being hosted here in Onion Lake at the end of August.
It'll be August 19th to the 23rd, right?
August 19th to the 23rd.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. We'll be promoting that along the way here with our programming here in Onion Lake, our public relations, our Onion Lake page on social media, 7gen. And like the boys mentioned here earlier, we have our community events. So I think we'll be touching base soon and making some plans, bringing you guys to the community and see how we can have our youth exposed to you guys or share some time with you guys here and there. So keep an eye out for that. Again, Thanks again for tuning in. Um, barn tours, live streams, more things like that coming up. So I think with that, I want to thank the CPCA executive for taking the time to sit down with us today and for sharing not only the vision of the organization but the heart behind the work you're doing with communities and youth. Today we talked about July 1st Sports Day races, youth barn tours, exposure opportunities, and most importantly, we officially announced that Onion Lake Cree Nation will be hosting the CPCA Chuck Wagon Finals for the next 3 years following the signing of a multi-year agreement. That's a big moment, not just for Onion Lake, but for the future of collaboration between professional sport and Indigenous communities. To everyone listening, thank you for supporting community driven stories like this. Stay tuned for more coverage, behind the scenes content, youth initiatives, and upcoming events connected to this partnership. Until next time, travel safe, take care of one another, and we'll see you at the races. Hi, hi.
Thank you.